been a busy one today. We've got the drill going along the road, sowing spring barley. We've got another tractor on the grubber. He's doing the end rigs where the drill turns to reduce the compaction. And then my dad's away down to the market in Stirling to pick up some store cattle. They'll be fattened up and go through the butchery. We're kind of running low for a few months' time. I'm just away collecting some stones that are lying about some fields and some branches, and then I'm going to go put the rollers on and go in behind the drill and just catch up with him. There's a few fields to roll. There's warble sheep. They're a Dutch breed. They're really friendly. We got them from a friend and they're almost like pets too, for our customers to look at with families and children, the same as the Highlanders. I'm just up picking up stones round about this field. They've been dragged out of this field when it was ploughed and brought up to the surface. As the hot and cold temperatures through the winter and summer fluctuate, big stones rise to the top, and you never basically get rid of all the stones. Every year you've got more stones, but just something you've got to keep on top of. If you don't pull them out, you damage machinery and you break things, and it's just a mess. Just adding these stones to the mountain. So as you can see, we've collected a good few stones between the farms over the last few years. This will all become bottoming for a new shed. And the shed will kind of carry on down there. Just got a delivery of some steel for a bit of a project that's going on. Just trying to get it in a doorway. The doorway 4 meters, steel 7.5, so a bit of a squeeze. That's a project you might see more of in the coming months. Just spread it out and left it in line with the sun, because obviously on the lorry on the way here there's been a bit of rain, so it's a bit wet and I don't want it to get covered in rust, so we'll let it dry out and hopefully that'll stop it rusting. We're just about to throw out this old workshop bench, but the shop's going to use it for putting plants on and planting up new plants and whatnot, so I'm just going to take it up there and that'll get it used and out of the road. Just going to plonk it over there if I can do that without smashing up any big pots or anything. Just filled up with diesel and AdBlue there. That's an AdBlue tank there. AdBlue is basically, it's a separate tank and it is injected into the exhaust gases of the tractor, most modern tractors and cars as well, and it reacts with the nitrogen oxides and splits them up into nitrogen and water, so it's meant to be less harmful for the environment. Once we get to the field you'll see how they work, but these 3 rollers, they fold out, they compact along the ground, gives the seed a good bed, holds in the moisture as well to allow the seed to germinate. These are oil lines. We plug into the back of the tractor. Oil's pumped out, and then that ram and our 2 rams are controlled by these lines. So that's the rollers working there. We'll open up the door, they're quite loud in the window. So what they're doing, they've got a bit of weight to them, and as they roll across the surface they add a wee bit of compaction, they break up any clumps in the soil, and it allows the seed to get a good seed bed, take hold and germinate as well. The roots can get a good structure in them as well, and this is the last chance you get to touch your seed bed really, and now it starts to grow after that. So you can see here the difference between the rolled stuff on the left and the stuff that's still to be rolled on the right. The left side is slightly compacted, it's kind of got ridges in it, and that locks in the moisture, gives the seed a good solid bed to build from. So there'll be the seeds in here somewhere. There you go. So that's spring barley seed. It's pinky in colour because it's got a treatment on it
that protects it when it's in the soil, and this darkness, that's moisture in the soil, and we're rolling this and this will compact it. It means there's less air in the soil for it to dry out.
Our main objective is to get the plant established well with a good root system. These roots will be able to bring up moisture, bring up nutrients, to grow, to tiller a lot. These tillers, basically leaves that come off it, and each of those tillers will then become a stem with a seed head on the top. And if you can do that and get the greatest amount of seed heads possible, that's where your yield comes from. And you want the seeds as well to be quite fat as well before you combine them. So that all comes from creating a good root structure and big large leaves. Dad's through at Stirling at the market at the moment, just buying some store cattle. They'll go in these sheds here at the moment. We're kind of looking to get about 12 to 15, and that'll cover numbers for the butchery in 3 months or so, around about that time. With breeding cattle, we're going to try and up the numbers over the next few years so we can supply the butchery with most of our own reared on the farm. And that'll be fed barley, which is grown on the farm. The protein content which is added into the barley is a byproduct of the oilseed rape we grow. In building up our beef numbers to supply the butchery, we will be able to have the calves born on the farm, feed the calves, protein source all within 4 miles of the farm shop. The bedding will be straw from the farm, sorry. They'll be butchered in the farm shop. They'll be consumed partially in the farm shop cafe or by customers who buy our beef. And that's all locally within Perthshire.
So that's the drill there. That's the hopper in the back of it. You fill that up with seed. Seed falls down. There's a power harrow on the front of it, and that basically spins. There's legs that spin really quick and smash up the ground. And then there's 2 discs that are shaped in a V, and they cut a slot into the ground. Seed drops into the slot, and then there's a packer in behind, and that closes the gap again.
I'll just try and put this field size into context. It's just over 14 hectares. 1 hectare is about 1.5 football pitches. So that's 21 football pitches in this field. So in every single square metre of these 21 football pitches, we sow 19 grams of spring barley seed, which works out at about 2.8 tonne for the whole field. Because everything's so big and machinery is so big and fields are so big, it all seems very large scale, but when you break it down into just square metre chunks, 19 grams on a square metre, it's not a lot.
Rain's pouring down, stops rolling, stops sowing, stopped disking and grubbing. Waiting on some new store cattle coming. This side, these are fat cattle, these are ready for the butchery. These ones are slightly younger, a wee bit smaller. They'll be a kind of a month away maybe. New ones that are coming will be even smaller again. They'll be 3-4 months away. So what we're going to do is put these ones in with this side, and they'll all be on ad lib feeding, so as much feed as they want. So the reason we can't put the new ones in with these ones is because they're all on an ad lib diet. It's an all you can eat buffet style diet. But the new ones, we don't know that on the previous farm they've been at, that they've been on that diet as well. And cattle, sheep and whatnot, they can overeat barley feed and it causes dehydration and they can kill themselves from it, so you have to be careful. So the new ones will be separate from these ones and they'll be built up until they can eat all you can eat diet. Yesterday's quiz question. What's this? It's a moisture meter for grain. So I'll show you how it works. So you take a sample of the grain, you pour it in this hatch at the top, and then you turn this and it grinds it, and it grinds it down into a wee pocket in here, and then there's a cylinder, there's a piston which presses down and squashes it all, and then you turn it on, select what cereal crop you're using, so in this case wheat, and it'll tell you what moisture content is in it. So I've just done a wee batch there, so that's 13.4% moisture, so when we're drying we're aiming for 14%. That just is a bit lower because this stuff's been through twice. Just back home now. That'll be everything for this video. The question for today's video is, in the 14 hectare or 21 football pitch size field I was in today, how many individual seeds were sown in the whole field?